everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Sadlier School Live. My name is Camberly Woods, and I am thrilled because we have Dr. Matthew Bayronavond and another special guest on here today. Hello, do you want to introduce us to our special guest?
Absolutely, Cam. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Well, this is not only a special guest, this is a repeat guest. This is my son, Nicholas Bayronavond, who is 6 years old, turning 7 in just a couple of days. And he's with us today as we talk about our theme for this week for our math videos, about how we can find different games that embed mathematics into it and help us better understand math and apply it in a fun, joyful manner. And we're going to be doing a game that Nicholas and I play almost every single day today together, and that's called Kingdomino.
Well, I am excited to see more about it. And Nicholas, welcome back. We'd love to have you here on the show. And I can't wait to see how you guys keep learning fun at home. And I want to remind everybody that if we mention any links on today's show, we will be linking to them in the comments here on the live. And if you're watching with us, go ahead and say hello. We'd love to connect.
And one other thing is that if you know of a different board game, card game, other sort of game that really has a nice mathematical foundation, drop it in the comments and let us know, because we can all learn from each other if we know of different games as well that we really think has strong mathematics behind it.
Yes, I agree. Share your ideas.
Yeah, so today's game is called Kingdomino, and it's played in a very similar way to the traditional game of domino, where you have the numbers, it goes up 1 to 12 and there's two sides. But instead, this is the idea, is you are trying to build a fortress or your land, and there's different sort of tiles available. And the tiles are, let's see, what do we call them? Desert, and we have grass, and we have forest, and then we have water, and then we have like a wasteland, and then we have a darker color land. And what's very interesting about it is it's not the same number of tiles of all of them. And in order to score points, you have to see how many different crowns you have. And to be able to figure it out, you're going to be doing mathematics. So you basically take turns trying to create your kingdom, if you will. And the kingdom, as I said, have a variety of different types of tiles. And then some of them have those crowns, as you can see in the top left or top right-hand corner. And over the course of about 6 to 10 turns, depending on how many people are playing, you're trying to build the biggest kingdom with the most amount of points possible. And there is a lot of strategy that comes into it, both from the aspect of what you're selecting, and possibly, as Nicholas likes to do, try to prevent your opponent from getting the preferred tile as well. And so you are a certain color, be it green or orange, and I usually play a green and Nicholas plays orange, and you basically take turns selecting different tiles that you want to have into your kingdom. Lot of problem solving, lot of creativity in this. And then by the end of the game, you would have either a completed 5x5 board, or in some cases you cannot complete it because it needs to be matching at least one of the tiles to somewhere else. So you can see this is a nearly completed board that you can see here that has a combination of the different types of landscape, with some of them having crowns into it. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to pass the mic to Nicholas, who's going to share with us how we calculate the score of how many points this particular board is worth. So Nikki, can you do that for us? So let's calculate to say, first of all, how many points did we earn from the forest? That's in the bottom right hand there.
So 1, 2, 3 times 2, 4, 6, 8. 3 times 8 is 26.
Close. Let's work on that. So let's say there's 3 groups of 8. So let's skip count by 8. Yes, 8, 16, 24. So there's 3 crowns. So it's 3 groups of 8 because there's 8 tiles that are touching. You'll notice we didn't count those 3 tiles at the top because those actually aren't connected. So for the forest, we have 24 points. What about the sand? How many points do we have for the sand?
We have 1 times 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 times 6 is 6.
Okay, so we would write that down on our score sheet. 1 times 6 is 6. Here's kind of a tricky one. What about the water?
1 times 1 is 1, and another 1 times 1 is 1, which 1 plus 1 is 2.
Okay, we have two different groups of 1 because, again, they're not connected. So the water is a combined 2 points. Do we have any points for that bottom left-hand gray part, that wasteland?
Nope.
Why not? Why are there no points there?
Because there's no crowns and there's only one piece.
So it would be, what would be the multiplication or the times for it?
1 times 0 is 0.
Excellent. And then the last part here is we have that darker gold area. What would be the mathematics on that?
1, 2, 3, 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 4 is 8.
Okay. And then there's two different ways to get bonus points. Can you tell us what the bonus points are?
So you put the green thing in the middle, and you put one more piece in between the two blank ones, and then you get and that's called a full board, and that's not called anything if that's in the middle.
Yeah. So if our board is complete, where we're able to put tiles and everything 5 by 5, you get some bonus points. Or if your kingdom, which is our green that's slightly in the down left, if that ends up dead in the middle and you can work it out that way, you get another 5 points for that as well. And so let's take a look at one other set, and this time we incorporate some grass here. And let's go through the scoring for this one. Even though we didn't actually play it, it's just a good thing to talk about in the practice. So let's start once again with the forest. What's the forest in this one here?
2 times 0 is 0.
Okay, great. And what's next? What do we do? The sand next?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the sand?
6 times 0 is 0.
6 times 0 is 0. The water, all those waters connect.
1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times 6 is 32.
Okay, let's skip count to see if that's the case. So it's 4 groups of 6. So let's count by 6.
Oh, 36.
Let's just do it together. Ready? 6.
12, 18, 24.
So what would be 4 groups of 6?
24.
24. All right, we have 2 more left. We have the grass. What is it for the grass? Can you sit up a little bit? What is it for the grass?
3 times 4 is 12.
Excellent. And then the light colored wasteland?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 4 is 24.
And we did that before. 6 times 4 is 24. And then at the end, we would write out our scores and add it up and to determine the winner. N stands for Nikki, D stands for Daddy, and I will tell you, more likely than not, it's Nicholas who ends up with the winner because he comes up with some great strategies. Tell us, Nicholas, what is it that you really enjoy about this particular game?
Because there's math, like Albert's Insomnia that we talked about. There's a lot of math. There's like a puzzle, and a lot of other good stuff about it.
Yeah, and is this more fun than, let's say, doing math worksheets?
Yeah, way more fun.
Way more fun, but yet you're still learning and doing math. Isn't that correct?
Yeah.
And it's your favorite thing to do with Daddy.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you. And so something that we have talked about more than one time on this Facebook Live, Cam, is the idea about when are we going to ever use these skills in mathematics, and the idea of what are employers looking for. And the top 3 things based on this economic report is they want problem solving, critical thinking, and creativity. And I would argue that in the 6 minutes of just playing this game with Nicholas, we saw all 3 of those there being developed in a young mind. And one other thing that we talk about is those 21st century skills. What are those 4 C's that they talk about? Communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. And again, I would also argue that all 4 of those C's were covered whenever we play the game and as demonstrated by Nicholas here today.
Matthew, thank you so much. I love these ideas for ways that we can get kids creatively discussing and looking at math and discovering problems and patterns. And every time you show up on here, you give us a plethora of genius ideas. So thank you for coming on here, number 1. And number 2, I just want to reiterate what you're saying, that those job skills for future workers that companies are looking at are ones that I enjoy working with people who have those skills. So I love that all of these practices or these applications that you give us incorporate ways for us to develop those skills in kids. So I appreciate that as well. And I dropped a link to this game in the chat if people are interested in checking that out. And you also mentioned a YouTube video on creativity that we wanted to kind of share with the audience as well. And I'll link to that in the chat if you want to give a brief explanation about that video.
Sure. So the first thing is a blog post that I did not do, that someone else did, about detailing what we just shared there about the mathematics and building into that game. And the second one is a TED Talk by the incredible Sir Ken Robinson, which has been seen by over 65 million times, and it's titled, "Do Schools Kill Creativity?" And the short answer is very much so, because they don't incorporate things like what we just did here or things that we have talked about. They try to suppress the creativity, and that is probably the most important skill that we have in ourselves, is the idea of being creative, and we want to foster that as much as possible. So if you have not seen that TED Talk, I highly recommend it. And tomorrow, for my final session for the week on the Facebook Live, we're going to be doing this again, looking at another game that you probably have never played, that is not only fun, joyful, engaging, but has a lot of those skills, mathematical skills and practices built into it.
I can't wait. And I have some Amazon purchases to make, because these are some great games to have on hand this summer for me and my kids to do. And they won't even know they're learning.
That's exactly right.
Or they will, and they'll realize that learning is fun and creative, and we can just get silly with it. So
the learning is embedded. It's not as though we're doing this game so we can learn. No, we're doing it to have fun and have a good experience. And you know what? We're going to learn at the same time.
Exactly. So thank you. Thank you, Nikki, for being on here. Happy birthday. We know you have a birthday this week, so we hope you have fun enjoying the day, and we will see you tomorrow at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern, 12 o'clock Pacific. Bye.
Bye-bye.